We did a couple of seasons of like a good guy and a bad guy, and they kind of like bumped chests, like I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you, and it was great. But the, under a woman's leadership right now, because I mean this whole train is driven by women right now, like the writers, the actresses, and everyone's killing it. But I don't think women really chest bump, like.
What? Bump chest with
Melissa?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think, like if a woman says, I'm gonna kill you, like, you should hide, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should run, you know what I'm saying? So it feels different. It's in a million different ways. It's great. I'm having the best time ever. Yeah.
Melissa, I'm not going to ask you about chest bumping.
All the time.
Does it feel like there is a different vibe to season 9? What Norman's talking about?
Yes. Yeah. It feels very, very brand new. It feels like we've just found a new way of being even our own selves. Where we've been through for the last 9 seasons, we've become very different, evolved people, versions of our own self, and then the world is taking back, going back to before we had all these modern conveniences and resources, and now we're pilfering through the museums and looking for archaic weaponry and things like that. It's really interesting, and I like the change. It feels new. The landscapes feel very new. Yeah, the preparations are new. It all feels very new.
Feels like a Western.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I get that. I get that vibe a lot. I mean, that's what the West is, right, Angela? The West is building, right? It's not tearing down. It's building new frontier.
Yeah, I think these are like the pioneers trying to like figure out how to reclaim like their place in the world. I think in the premiere episode that you all saw. They walk over this glass floor, and they're in the American history wing of the museum, and there's kind of like a map of the U.S. underneath, and like you kind of can't really see it. It's not meant to be like just in your face, but it says manifest destiny, because it's kind of like what they're doing. It's like they're trying to like figure out like, can we expand our civilization here? Like how do we figure out like who we are, where we are, like how do we take it back from the dead?
Obviously, we know Andrew Lincoln's saying goodbye this season. You guys have talked a lot about that. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about that moving forward. But it's interesting because I've been lucky enough to go on set and see him work a lot, and this incredible preparation this guy puts into every scene. But what's not talked about a lot is what's often accompanies this preparation does is a lot of singing. And not necessarily in pitch singing, if we're going to be brutally honest. Jeffrey, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Do I ever? Yeah, he is a special kind of singer. It's usually like the wrong words to like Yellow for Coldplay or something. But Andy always had a very special way going into every scene. And you could tell by his song choice how irritated he was as the bad guy. I knew if I was getting to him just by his singing and what he was singing, yeah.
What's some of the just most off-the-wall, craziest stuff you guys have seen him do before? Because I've certainly seen a lot. Melissa, what's some of the stuff you've seen Andy do before some of his big takes, just to get himself sometimes physically, sometimes emotionally in the right place?
There's one that's really beautiful and very curious to me, is how he's standing usually he could be kneeling. He kneels and he stands, but usually he just kind of walks off and then he goes.
Stares at his hand.
You have to make the noise.
Oh, you can make the noise.
It's really weird. Yeah.
All right, let's kill this pig.
Yeah. Kick this pig.
Kick this pig.
Kick this pig,
Yeah.
not kill it. I said shoot. I said shoot this pig.
Well, the pig's got everyone sick back in season 4, so I think he's still holding a grudge of it. Norman, what do you think of some of his histrionics before he does a big take? Do you have a favorite move of his?
I mean, he's ridiculous. Let's just say it. Yeah, he's a total idiot. I will say though that I had the good fortune, and Melissa and I being there in season 1, and I mean, he does all this weird, crazy stuff, and you know, but he was always first on set, always last to leave. He was the first one to say hello to the new people. You know, he and Jeffrey DeMond and Sarah Wayne Callies and John Bernthal and all of them set a certain tone on that set that everyone tries to live up to. I remember when Jeff came on the show, I was telling him it's like a huge family, you know, and that core group really set the tone for all of us. And, you know, I mean, as goofy as that guy is, he really, you know, he would do this thing, you know, he'd make the noises and kick the pig and all this other stuff, and I'd be like, come on, do it again. And he'd go, come on, guys, let's kick this pig. And I'd be like, they're not listening, do it again. But, you know, that core group really set the tone. I have to say, like, you know, everybody that is on the show and leaves the show always talks about that. So, you know, we forgive him for being a total moron. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I always love about Andy is his intensity was always like at Mach 400, but you understand that for like, you know, scenes that are like physical, there could be like fight scenes and people are doing push-ups or whatever they have to do to get veiny and excited. But Andy would do that for, you know, having to say hello. You know, there was never a change to his preparation depending on what the scene was. It could be a massive fight scene or it could be him answering the door and smiling. It was always like something nutty.
But
Yeah, you disappear around the corner and then you hear this guttural.
Wow. I guess he's ready. All right, roll cameras.
I've slapped him so many times before the scene. Like, literally, he's like, hit me, and I'm like, pop. Yeah, like, yeah, he goes mock whatever.
But it's interesting, Norma, you say how he set the tone. He #1 on the call sheet for that long. Now that he's not there, what is the tone of the set? Has it changed at all?
Horrible.
I was gonna say so much better. I mean, you know, we still have that in our crew. We still have it, you know, in our writers. It's still there. That tone is still there. But, you know, I mean, I've done not other TV so much, but you know, other jobs where you don't have that. And everyone took this job super serious from the get-go. And, you know, there's zombies, and there's samurai swords, and there's rednecks with crossbows. You know, there's all these things that if you didn't play it for real, it could spin off into some other thing. And everybody played everything 100%. So that tone is still there. That never left, you know.
I mean, we're talking about Andy a lot here, and we should be. He deserves it. But I'm listening to Norman saying all these great things. Norman, Melissa, the tone is set. There's a lot of people on this that have been here for a long time that are as great as Andy was. And if it was someone else leaving, if it was Norman or Melissa, we'd be having the same conversation. It's not just Andy. He's weirder than the rest of us. But, you know, sitting next to me are some incredible leaders that the tone will never be lost. The intensity and what it takes to film this show is something I've never witnessed on anything, and it's a special group of people that show up every day and shoot this show, and two of them are right here.
Yeah.
Chest bump.